Let's talk about subframing. I was once in a tree painted in a Gil desert in Ethiopia. It's one of the hottest places in the world, but it also has these amazing salt fields, and that place is simply beautiful. As I was walking around there with my camera, I noticed a person walking around, and there was this beautiful reflection of the setting sun, and I was like, oh, this is so nice, I would like to photograph this. And I photographed the person, but I was not happy with the result. I was like, I have to frame this in some way. But you're in the desert and there is nothing there, like nothing, is just plain flat. How do you frame it? And then my eye caught this little branch on the floor. And I said, well, that's interesting. I might use that branch to do the framing. And while this was not the most beautiful photograph out there, but the purpose of this story is very simple. You can always find an element that you can use to do a subframing. Subframing is one of the most popular techniques to kind of bring the attention to the subject of the frame. You can bring the attention to any point where the frame exists, and you're bringing the viewer straight into the story. And you will say, well, I know what subframing is. It's basically when someone is standing near the door or on the window, and you will be like, yeah, this is just this natural frame, and this is what usually is taught and what most people do when they try to subframe. Well, but there is more. There is so much more. There are so many different ways to frame. I will show you today at least 10 of them. So we will start with the classical subframing. Classic subframing involves windows, doorways, or anything that has this like framing looking shape. And by positioning your subject inside of that frame, you can directly bring the attention to that subject. That door or that window will also provide sense of structure, and you will be able to create a sense of balance and symmetry. This technique is commonly used in portrait photography, but you can use it in many other ways as well. The second subframing type is just use natural elements. Landscape photographers would usually use like leaves to frame a building or something like that. Like in this case, I use the rock formations and the light falling down there. The natural frames are usually used in the landscape photography, but it's not always like that. You can also apply it in our genre of travel photography as well. Architectural subframing is very similar to the classic subframing one, but you're just using the architecture arches, the man-made objects to frame your subject, like this photograph of the Taj Mahal. This technique is often used in architectural or street photography and can provide an extra context to the scene of where you are or a sense of place as well. I bet you didn't think about that one. You can use negative space to frame your images. You just use the emptiness to bring down the attention to your subject. This technique is used mostly in minimalism and like very clean like looking street photography, but it's a very valid technique to use. This technique can be used in minimalist composition that draws attention straight to the subject. And this is probably my favorite one. I like to frame my images and create kind of a subframing and bring the attention to my subjects by using simply light. It works well in a well lit environment on a sunny day or just a place where the sun is hitting very strongly. I will just set my camera to expose for these particular bright spots of the image. Basically, it's called exposure for the highlights. And by doing this, I will place my subject in the bright area and everything around will just disappear in darkness. So it's in a way similar to using negative space. I'm just using this contrast between light and shadow to create the negative space dark surrounding. And now let's try some less popular styles. Actually, framing and subframing, they're just limited by your imagination. You can almost use anything to frame. If you're looking around, you can, well, just like a look. In this photograph, for example, I noticed that there is like this pattern of hands surrounding the woman. So I framed her with a pattern of hands that did bring the attention to the woman itself and also gave some extra context. Mirrors are a very popular way to frame subjects. You can use it in street photography, or probably many of you seen these makeup artists applying makeup and looking themselves in the mirror. So you can kind of take a photograph of the mirror and you will have your object framed. Well, if there is no mirror there and if there are no patterns of hands, what do? You just use other people. You can take photographs between, hands or between two legs. You can use anyone passing by, or you can just even photograph a person between two other people. It will still be subframing. You're bringing the attention to the object. That's the idea of it. You need to bring your attention to the object. And if you run out of all that, you can always throw some towels in and frame your subject in the towels. On a rainy day, a set of umbrellas can bring the attention to your subject in a perfect way. And if you have no one of these ones, you can just use a camel. Well, let me know if you heard about this technique, and just tell me how you're doing your subframing. See you next time.